The letters J and V change their pronunciation, respectively, in different languages. How about looking for that reason? Don't forget to subscribe to Lang Explorer to show your support. The letter J is quite unique. While in English it's pronounced with J sound, together with Romance languages such as French, Portuguese and Romanian, other Germanic languages pronounce it with Y sound while in Spanish it's H sound. Also V is pronounced like V, F, and B. The previous examples have shown you that these two characters in the Latin alphabet are equipped with such intriguing features to change their sound substantially by language while identical letters are used. Why are they pronounced so differently? Today we'll delve into the curious history these letters have gone through. The letter J is quite a curious one. In English, it's pronounced J, but it's pronounced Y when it appears as phonetic symbol. For example, the pronunciation of the word yes is written as you see in the screen, and obviously this letter is pronounced Y instead of J. It's pronounced Y in Germanic languages other than English and Slavic languages written in the Latin alphabet, such as Polish, while it's pronounced J in Romance languages such as French, Portuguese, Romanian, and Catalan, although subtle differences can be found in their sound. In Spanish, it's pronounced with H sound while in Italian, J isn't used as it's replaced with GI or GE. The letter V is also a weird one. In English and most Romance languages, it's pronounced V, but in German it's pronounced F in most cases, and in Spanish and Catalan it's pronounced V. What brought about such changes in the sound? In fact, the letters J and U didn't exist in Latin, and they were written with I and V, respectively. Also, J and V were pronounced like Y and W. Julius Caesar, an ancient Roman statesman, was written this way in Roman times, and Augustus, the first Roman emperor, was written like this in Roman times. Here, we respect Roman customs of spelling them in capital letters to avoid a situation in which it would be difficult to distinguish between capital I and lowercase l. So, Romans didn't differentiate between the vowel I and the consonant J or between the vowel U and the consonant V, and both J and U were created only in the Middle Ages. This original J sound is kept intact in German, Dutch, Polish, Czech, and other languages. On the other hand, Romance languages changed the pronunciation from Y to J. GE and GI also went through the same change while spelling remained unchanged, triggering a discrepancy between spelling and pronunciation. Those words still pronounced G and G are spelled GHE and GHI in Italian and Romanian, and GUE and GUI in French, Spanish, and Portuguese, among other languages. Even though English is a Germanic language, J experienced the same change as England suffered a lot of French influence since the Norman conquest in 1066. Another significant change in English is that in some cases G changed into Y. For instance, the word yesterday in German is
gestern,
and the word yellow in German is
gelb.
In Spanish, the pronunciation of J changed into SH between the 15th and 16th centuries, and then turned into this harsh H sound in the 17th century. Remnants of the former SH sound can be found in many languages. For instance, while Mexico in modern Spanish is
México,
Portuguese retains the original sound SH as
México. Don Quixote
is pronounced
Don Quixote
in French, also preserving the SH sound already lost in Spanish. And
Shabon,
in the Japanese word for soap bubble,
Shabondama,
keeps the pronunciation of the 16th century Spanish, while in modern Spanish it's
Jabón.
The change from SH to H may seem odd, but from a linguistic point of view, we can tell you that this isn't uncommon. In some Indo-European branches, such as Indo-Iranian, Balto-Slavic, and Armenian, S turned into SH under certain conditions according to the Rucki sound law, but in Slavic languages, it went furthermore to H sound. In Swedish, SJ is going through a similar change, and what used to be pronounced like SH in English is increasingly pronounced like H. Next, let's see how V changed to the current pronunciation from the previous W sound. In Latin, the letter U didn't exist, and V was used as a consonant like W and the vowel U, as mentioned earlier. The consonant W changed into V in Vulgar Latin around the 1st century AD, and it's still used in French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian, while in Spanish, the V merged with B, and the V sound isn't heard in this language, except in some Latin American dialects. So, Romance languages lost the consonant W, which turned into the V sound, while W was preserved in Germanic languages. Therefore, Germanic languages created a new letter W, a combination of two V's, to express this sound, and later, Polish and others adopted this letter, too. On the other hand, Romance languages such as French, Italian, and Spanish didn't need to adopt the W letter as the W sound changed into V. The sound change from W to V isn't uncommon among Indo-European languages. The consonant W has been preserved in English, but in German, the English W is now pronounced as V, although it's still spelled with W. For example, the English word west is spelled identically in German but is pronounced as West in German. The German equivalent of the English word weather is wetter. In Slavic languages, the consonant that corresponds to U and V in Latin are pronounced V. For example, the number 2 is pronounced
Duo
in Latin, but in Russian it's
Dwa
and in Polish it's
Dwa.
The word for you guys is
Was
in Latin, but in Russian it's
Wy
and in Polish it's
Wy.
Furthermore, Rigveda, the classical literature in Sanskrit, has the word Veda, which means knowledge. Etymologically, it derives from Proto-Indo-European, meaning to see, and its cognates include wise in English, and
Video,
meaning I see in Latin. Here, you see that W in Proto-Indo-European turns into V in Sanskrit. Actually, the English pronunciation of V has two origins. One stems from Latin V, which I mentioned earlier, and the other is the change from what used to be F in Old English. Words falling into the first category have usually a French counterpart, which includes a very basic word in English, very. This word entered English from Old French,
vrai,
which is connected to modern French,
vrai,
meaning true. But etymologically, it can be traced back to the Proto-Indo-European, and in fact its cognate with German word,
wahr,
which also means true. In addition, words beginning with V in English, such as vigorous and voice, are basically of Latin or other foreign origin, and the only Germanic English word beginning with V is vixen. In Middle English, vixen also began with F, as fixen, and the current form of V came from a dialect. On the other hand, the F in Old English turned into V in Middle English if sandwiched with vowels. For instance, the number 7 was
seofon
in Old English, which can be traced back to
sebun
in Proto-Germanic. Likewise, the word give in modern English is derived from
gef
in Old Norse, an ancestor of Swedish, Danish, and other Nordic languages, and can also be traced back to the Proto-Germanic word
gabanan.
In fact, English also had a word directly related to gabana, which is yive, but this word is nowadays hardly heard. You will also notice here that the G has changed to Y in English, as explained earlier. By comparison, the corresponding German words are sieben and geben, respectively, and here we can clearly see that this language preserves the B in Proto-Germanic, while in English it changed to F and ultimately to V. Also, it's important to notice that V in German is usually pronounced F, except loanwords, reflecting the fact that it used to be pronounced V in some dialects in Middle High German between the 11th and 14th centuries. While pronunciation switched to F, the spelling was kept intact. Another example of change from B to V can be found in Greek. The B in ancient Greek changed into V in modern Greek. So, for instance, the bibliography in Greek is
Bibliografia.
Now, let's summarize what we've learned today. 1. The letters J, U, and W didn't exist in Latin, so I and V were used instead of J and U, respectively. It was only in the Middle Ages that J and U started to be used. 2. The Germanic languages other than English, as well as Slavic languages, preserve the original pronunciation of J, like Y, but English, influenced by French, adopted the J sound. In Spanish it further evolved into the SH and H sound. 3. Surprising enough, the change of sh to h isn't uncommon. In addition to Spanish, such changes have occurred in Slavic languages and Swedish. 4. D was originally pronounced W, and W was created in Germanic languages after this sound in Romance languages changed into V, to show the original consonant, followed by Slavic languages. Later, however, many of those languages also changed the pronunciation of W to V. 5. The English V has two roots. One is the adoption of foreign words, and the other is Germanic words, which changed their pronunciation from F to V. All English words, beginning with V, are loanwords, except vixen, and in many cases V of Germanic origin corresponds to B in German. 6. V in German is pronounced F, because it used to be pronounced as such in some dialects in late medieval German. 7. Another example of the change from B to V can be found in Greek. Thank you for watching this video. We're looking forward to seeing you in the next one.